No. Hello? Okay. Alrighty. Thanks for coming out tonight. I hope dinner worked. Any comments, complaints? Good. So, quick introduction for those of you who may have not seen me before. I'm Dave Eby, Operations Vice President of the club. Tonight is our general membership elections. So you're going to be electing board of directors elections, what it is. So what we're going to do is, I'm waiting for Greg to show up, El Presidente. He's going to give about a quick 2-minute discussion about the club, where things are at, how things are going, where we're moving towards. And then he's going to give the mic back to me, and what I will do is I'm going to go through the people running for the positions. And those people that are here, we have 4, 8, 12, 13, 14. Boy, you guys are hosed. We got 14 people running for seats, of which we're going to give, if anybody wants, if any of the people running for board want to discuss things with y'all, they're going to be limited to 3 minutes or less, because I want to get home tonight. So with that case, does anybody see Greg come in yet? No, that's you're Craig, not Greg. Close all the exits. He ran for it. He made a run. So once Greg gets in, I'm going to hand it over to him. He'll do a quick yak. And then what we'll do is I'll start calling names. The person can come on up, introduce yourself to the crowd, discuss your platform. Chicken in every pot. There he is. There's our jefe, our presidente. All right. So Greg will start it off, tell us what's going on, and then I'll pick it up from there.
"30 seconds or less, maybe 60 seconds. State of the club. Basically, the club is as sound as it's ever been. We finished last year, we're finishing last year above budget, so on the bright side of things. I think anybody that was here last year might recall, we planned to have excesses that we can funnel into basically increasing IDP reserves and increasing general club reserves, just to give us more padding for insurance use avoidance as needed, and also just operations padding as well, as everything costs more. This year's budget got wrapped up. I don't know if Larry's walked in yet, but he did a great job getting us set up. There he is. The budget for 23-24, basically unchanged other than continuing reserves for IDP, continuing reserves for General Operations Fund, and Larry's also setting up some investments into short-term T-bills to increase our return on our excess money. So that's going to help keep things in check going forward as far as increasing expenses. Other than that, the election tonight, we're open, right? Yeah. So it's open for voting at the moment. We're going to take about 45 minutes, we're guessing, 3 minutes per candidate. They're going to present their little speeches, whatever they have prepared. Not really a question and answer thing tonight. It's just because people online or people who presented other ways didn't get that opportunity either. So they'll present what they wish to present. Anybody here or online that wishes to do a last-minute vote will have the opportunity. Probably within about 15 minutes of the close, if everybody's had their chance to vote, there's no technical glitches, the voting will close. In that period of time, Shane's going to talk about a couple recent attempted suicides by aircraft by doing stupid things, and that'll keep us entertained while we wait for the final vote count. Any questions?
What's your favorite color?
Blue. Thank you. Okay.
Just leave on the table. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and I'll start with the owners. I'm going to this is no particular order of calling out names. And we do have some people that'll be speaking as a proxy for some owners because they're either not able to be here or they're not able to be here. So we'll start with Trent Cherry. He's an owner. He owns the Bonanza or the Debonair out there at Gillespie Field. And who's speaking for Oh, Josh, never mind. Josh Welch. Josh here today? Ooh, going once, twice. Okay, Jim Cunning is number 2. He owns the 182 RG. It's now that had the gear failure that's going to be based at Gillespie. Hector Torres will be speaking for Jim. 3 minutes or less.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Name is Hector, and I am speaking on behalf of Jim Cunnings. I am Jim Cunnings. I've been a member at Plus One Flyers for nearly 20 years. Just vote for Jim. And for nearly 20 years on the board since 2011, and I have had one of the 2 182 RGs in the club for 13 years. I learned to fly with the Plus One, and I understand the experiences members have in the club as students and as experienced pilots. I have enjoyed serving on the board, and I am running for another term because I believe I can make a positive contribution to the operation of the club, period. I am committed to and concerned about safety and making the club members' experience a positive one. This election will be the first one in my time with the club, which I have not been able to attend, thanks for my family scheduling a reunion on the same date. Despite my absence at the election, I would appreciate your votes so I may continue to serve the club. Thanks. Jim's better looking now, isn't he?
There we go. Okay. Brian Jones. Brian Jones is up. He got 3 minutes or less.
Does this go to the Zoom people online? Yep. Okay, the Zoom people online are probably going to overhear what I have to say. I have a very loud voice, so I don't really need the microphone. My name is Brian. I've been with the club for about 10 years, and I've been an owner in the club with 2 different Great Lakes biplanes for 5 of those since 2018. Currently, I'm a partner in 5.5 Whiskey at Montgomery. If you know me, it's probably from the spin clinics that I put on, or because I'm out at the north end of El Cap and I'm doing aerobatics and I'm one of those nut jobs. I have no agenda coming to the board. I don't have anything that I want to accomplish other than 2 things. First, I want to do cool events, mainly focused around stick and rudder flying. That doesn't mean I hate instrument flying people. I just prefer stick and rudder flying. So spin clinics, aerobatics days, which are coming up June 24th. So even if you don't vote for me, come out to Gillespie on June 24th and we'll take you up for an aerobatics ride in one of our airplanes. And the other thing that I really want to do is find the people that keep damaging airplanes, flat spotting tires, breaking door locks, leaving water bottles, and goddamn Duracell batteries all over the pockets. If I could find those people and kill them, that is my agenda. Like, that's all I want to do. So, with that, if you are the person that trashes airplanes, do not vote for me. I will wreck your life. But otherwise, if you would like the IDP charge to stay at 2% instead of going up to 25%, vote for me. And I will try to keep the club awesome. So, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's 1%. Details. Okay, final owner of the night, Aaron Muther. Aaron, he's been working all day on his presentation.
Yeah, thank you. I told Dave I didn't have much to say or have anything prepared, but yeah, we'll see. But I told him I'd be willing to take a beating and run for board. So quite honestly, I've been a member for 17 years. Professionally, I work as a financial advisor, but I've been renting planes for 17 years, have been an owner for 2 years, and this has been a wonderful club. So for me, this is about paying it forward. I now have the time and availability to serve other pilots, make this club really sustainable. That's the goal, right? Keep it affordable for people, make sure that we have safety in line, make sure we have a good community, and that's pretty much it. So looking for your vote. I'm not going to kill anybody, but we'll try to help you guys out as much as possible. That's it.
Okay. We're doing good. We might get out of here before sunset. Before sunrise. Okay, the next one we're going into the non-owners, of which we have 4 spots open. The first one we'll be talking to is Brad Alberts. Brad is up. Grab.
Good evening, everyone. Brad Alberts, come from a general aviation and then airline background, a very strong safety advocate, air safety chairman, served accident investigation committees, all at an airline level. But my roots are in general aviation, and if I can be part of helping the safety organization here and improve some of that, what somebody was saying, the people who are breaking airplanes and leaving batteries, if we can get the instructors up to speed and instill a slightly more professional attitude towards flying at the club, it'll just benefit everybody. So that's why I'm running tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you much. Jason Andrews is up, but he is not with us tonight. So Josh will be speaking. Birnbaum. Yes, I'm trying to read. All right.
Hello, everybody. I'm Josh Birnbaum. I'm speaking on behalf of Jason Andrews. If you know Jason, he's been around the airport every day. He's there 6 days a week. Probably should be there less. He's been in aviation for over 20 years. Has over thousands and thousands of hours of instruction given, hours flown. All in all, he really just promotes aviation safety through education. If you've been at Miramar College, he's taught there for over 17 years for the instrument ground school and the aviation weather class. So whether you vote for him to stay on the board or you want to further your education in weather, I will promote him as both the board member and for Miramar College. As his coworker at Miramar College, I took over the Aviation 101 class, and I can tell you he's just, all in all, always focused on aviation safety and just all in all, just trying to make sure that everybody's educated and safe. So he would appreciate your vote. I would appreciate you voting for him as one of his proteges that he's trained to be an instructor in the club. I can assure you he is always got a vigilant eye on the club, the planes, the instructors, and the learners. So I'd appreciate your vote for Jason Andrews.
Yep. Thank you.
Say that he enjoys long walks on the beach.
Yeah, white wine. Yeah, hand holding. The Carpenters at sunset. John Barta.
Anyway, I'm John Barta. I'm also running for the board as a non-owner. I've been in this club for about 20 years, and a lot of that has been on the board as well. So I have some experience and some insight as to how the board operates. I've had 4 airplanes in the club, 88 Golf, which is still in the club, another 172 and 1 Tango Whiskey, and I had an 836, which met its demise in Catalina. So you'll no longer find down the line. So I have some sensitivities to what members need and like, and also owners, and I'll take that to the board. And my target is to essentially bring those concerns, iron them out, and then we go from there. The board, as you well know, is very critical to the operation of the club. It hadn't been for the board and some of the leadership we've had, we wouldn't have the club we do today. It's an outstanding organization. It's the largest club in the world, and it's very effectively run. And the reason it is because people volunteer and they take action on committees, or either run a committee or participate in a committee, which is essential in getting things done. And that's where I think my strengths are. I like to get involved. I like to take control where it's possible and likely. Excuse me. And so that's why I like your vote. There are, again, a lot of things that the club does. They, in terms of the long-term goals, they set the goals, and committees, are, as I mentioned before, are an essential part of that. So in terms of what my mantra is, it's like George Patton said, you lead, follow, or get the hell out of the way. So that's where I'm coming from. Actually, I talked to my son a little bit before I came over here, and he relayed this story to me. He's an F-16 pilot, and he was flying around doing some chases with a B-52. And the B-52 guy called in to the tower and said, I lost an engine. I'd like priority landing. So the tower cleared him to land, and somebody else came on the radio and said, oh my gosh, the risk of a 7-engine landing. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I appreciate your vote. And if you do, I'll do a great job. Thanks.
No, there he is. Okay, let's go to Becky Vincent. Becky, you're up.
Dave, where do I stand for the Zoom people? Anywhere here?
Yeah. Oh, they can see. They can see you right there.
Oh. Oh, look at that.
The beauty of modern technology.
Hi, everybody. I'm Becky Vincent. I'm a small business owner. Our company is called Vincent Enterprises. We provide engineering and business solutions to technology, business, and government customers. I put a link in the ballot in case you want to know more about me or more about us. Before that, I worked mostly for large companies. I started as a design engineer and was promoted to run projects and departments. So I led design and production departments mostly for aircraft and launch vehicles. And so the private pilot thing was something I'd always thought about doing, but really didn't get around to until COVID. When COVID happened, I thought, I'll take the ground school, Jason Andrews ground school. Actually, it was Mike's ground school. But I decided to do that, and then I thought, well, I passed the written test, I'll take some lessons. So I started flying Piper Archers through the club, and now I'm a licensed private pilot, and I'm working on my instrument rating. I aspire to be an owner, but I'm not. I've been renting for the past few years, but I love it, so it's kind of something I do for fun, sadly, I guess. Let's see. I've served on many nonprofit boards and university boards. I've served on the Engineering Advisory Board for USD. I've served on the Advisory Board for Executive Program for Scientists and Engineers. I've served on many nonprofit boards, mostly the defense industry, and I'd love to serve as a member on Plus One's board. So I ask for your vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, let's do Demi Resnick. Demi, you're up.
Hey everyone, I'm Demi Resnick. I'm a CFI on Plus One, kind of new to the club. I heard people here 20 years in the club, members, so I'm only almost a year in the club. I own an airplane, Sundowner Beechcraft, also based in Montgomery, which I'm considering to bring to the club. We'll discuss about that maybe later. As to my background, I have a bachelor's in aerospace engineering and a master's in business administration. I've been a CEO of a medium company for the last 6 years. The last recommendation letters I've received mention me as a go-getter and great team player, so I would like to contribute my experience, my top management level, senior level experience to actually set goals in the club and make it happen. So it's a really short speech. Thank you for voting, whoever, and see you again.
All right, you guys are doing great. Okay, let's go with Chase. Chase Frazen, you're up. Frazen, sorry. I can't read writing.
That's all right. Everybody gets it wrong. Hey, everybody, Chase Franzen. Thanks,
yeah.
Hector, for recording this. That's awesome. So I actually had 2 people text me and say, I don't know who's louder, you or Brian. And what's funny is we actually have a hanger back to back, and a lot of times we can hear each other like talking, and it inevitably is like this war of who can talk louder. I think it's you. I think you're louder. So I'd be thrilled to earn your vote tonight. I'm Chase Franzen again. I am an airplane owner, although neither of my airplanes are in Plus One. I'm absolutely obsessed with flying. I've been flying for about 6 years. I joined Plus One to learn how to fly airplanes. I've been a CFI for the last 3.5 years. Have done a ton of check rides and a ton of instruction. Kind of a fixture, I guess, at Montgomery, and I I think we've got like the coolest club in the world. We're not only the biggest club, we talk a lot about being the biggest club, but I mean, we have such an incredibly special thing here, you guys. And I think the club has done an amazing job futuring general aviation in San Diego. And I, selfishly, I want to be a part of that, right? I want to have my voice at the table, but really, I just want to be a good ambassador of general aviation in San Diego. I want to, less of those Alpine folks to hate us and more of the kids standing at the airplane fence going, oh my gosh, that is the coolest thing in the frickin' world. I want to be up there. So whatever I can do to further that mission, that's what I'm about. Come from a business background. I have a bunch of degrees. I sit on a bunch of boards. I know how independent corporate governance works, have an MBA in finance, but none of that stuff matters. What matters is we all like to fly airplanes. And I promise you, should I earn your vote to be on the board, I will do my best damn job of embodying all of what the non-owners, I'm running for a non-owner seat, so I will embody what the non-owners want in this club and execute on independent corporate governance or nonprofit governance, I guess it would be. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your consideration.
Counselor. You okay there? Need some help?
I'm good.
You all right?
Well, I'm probably the old. Good evening. My name is Craig Fuller, and I've been with the club for approximately 17, 18 years. For the last 12 years, I've also been the general counsel. Obviously, I'm an attorney, and I counsel the board on all of its governance, interactions with members, insurance, all of the legal issues that come up with the board, including some of our accidents. And so that is why I've stayed with the board so long. I've been a pilot for 41 years now, so I do enjoy flying. I'm not sure I enjoy it as much as Chase does, but I do enjoy it, and it's a good way for me to get around I'm a litigator, and I litigate all over Southern California and Arizona. So I certainly think it's a very important thing to have legal counsel on the board, and I think that's why they keep inviting me back, because then I have to go to the meetings rather than charge them to show up for the meetings. Think I don't know? I know. I know what you're doing. But I also enjoy making sure that the direction of this board continues not only in a very legal and straight up way, but also I tend to try to be the voice of reason when there are different voices speaking about how certain things should be handled for not just the members, but the owners. And I try to temper some of that down when I think there's too much rhetoric. So that's why I like to stay on this board. I also believe in it because it is one of the finest clubs ever. And so I would just appreciate your vote to stay on the board. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Can you believe that? A lawyer who talked in under 3 minutes? I was going to try to keep it to 10.
Well, Mr. Davis. Right there. There it is. He was up all night practicing his speech.
Good evening. I'm Dan Davis, and I'm running for, as Dave said, a non-owner position. I'm a current board member in an owner's position, and I was appointed to that slot about a year and a half ago when Gus Schwartz retired from the board. So in order for me to continue service on the board, I need to be elected, but I need to be elected as a non-owner. Since I don't have a plane in the club, I can't run as an owner. I need to go the non-owner route. A little bit about me. I've been with the club for, close to 20 years. I'm a +1 CFI, a +1 senior CFI. And I had this great thing, this great speech planned, and now it's just like going right out the, right out the door. But as far as my background and what have you is I've started numerous companies, bought, sold, run. I've served on corporate boards. As far as running or knowing about how a flying club runs, I ran Golden Wings Flying Club for the better part of a decade here at Montgomery. I have been attending board meetings for probably the better half of say, 15 years. And the reason why I attended the board meetings was that, and also the reasons why I want to continue to be a board member is that I want to make sure that the board continues to provide its members, to provide me and you with, God, I'm just like wigging out here, provides its members, provides us with well-maintained airplanes at reasonable prices with a minimal amount of muss and fuss. If that's something that is important to you, then vote for me. I'll be your advocate for that. I'll fight that fight. So I'm Dan Davis, and I approve this message. So.
Yeah, you beat me to it. Okay. We're down to the last two, myself and Shane. I'm going to go ahead and I'll just take my little bit. Then I'm going to hand it off to Shane. He'll finish up the last of the statements, and then he's going to go into his presentation about, the potential suicides via airplane. And then after that, the voting will be active from the end of Shane's speech for another 15 minutes. And then that's it. So if anybody's going to go back online, change their votes, or do something, or those of you guys online, oh, you can't change it. That's right. Okay, so those of you who haven't voted, don't go there. Vote early, vote often. Anyways, so with that, for those of you who haven't seen me before, I'm Dave Eby, Operations, like I said before. I took over the Montgomery operation in 2003. I was at Brown earlier, starting in like 2000. Then came up here when my predecessor, Chuck Learman, moved on. And I've been with it ever since. And when we first started off, I think we had about 40 airplanes and maybe 600 members. Now we've been able to grow it to 2,400 plus, and we've been balancing between 95 and 102 airplanes at 3 airport locations. So that was one of the goals, to make sure when I came in, when I took over operations and I started getting involved, was to try to keep a diverse fleet. And as much as possible, a modern fleet. We don't have a lot of slash uniform airplanes anymore, slash alphas. And most of them are going to be a minimum of 430. If not, most of them are going to 650s, 750s, G5s, and all the other stuff. So that's always been a goal when I came on board, first as an officer and then as a director, to try to keep maintaining that kind of presence going. And try to make more of a country presence, because I do get a lot of reaches across the country from people forming clubs, having issues with clubs or their club, and putting things together. So it's been a nice little run in representing the club as well in this fashion. So I request that you vote for me, please. Thank you. And like I said, like I would tell everybody, if you look under your seat, somebody's got a $50 bill. I guarantee it. It's actually, I take that back. It's $320s because of inflation, so it's $60 now. Okay, so with that, I'm going to pass it off to Shane, and then he's going to go on with his presentation. And when he's done, 15 minutes.
After 15 minutes after my speech. Including the safety stuff?
No.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Once you start saying safety, then that's wrong.
Okay, all right, so I'll let you know. Hi, everybody. Shane Terpstra. I know a lot of you. I have a unique perspective. Been in the club for over 15 years now. Came in as a member and graduated into an instructor. Well, actually, even before that, I think I was an owner. I've owned 3 airplanes in the club. First one was an Archer. That one was wrecked by an instructor. Second one was a Cirrus SR-22 Turbo. That one was sold. Third one was the Lake Amphibian. That one sank by an instructor. So I have a unique perspective from the owner standpoint as well. I advocate for owners as much as I advocate for members, and also an instructor. And actually, and there's several CFIs in here. And actually, a shout out to Fatty Awan is somewhere in here. Is our brand? He left. Of course he did. He's our newest instructor as of, I think, yesterday. He's one of Jason Andrews' students. But anyway, so I'll always advocate for instructors as well. But generally, I mimic everybody else's remarks that this is a great club. I mean, I'd like to see it continue to grow. As Greg said earlier, being fiscally responsible, and I said in my statement, if you look online, one accident away from, if it's a big enough accident, it'll shut the club down. And there are a lot of people that rely on the club as their sole source of income. And as long as that happens, and that is happening, then I will advocate for those people to make sure that they can continue to do what they're doing. So with that said, I appreciate your vote, and good luck to everyone else. So
that's that. Time has started.
Okay, put my other hat on now. New Year's Eve, I'm up in northern Idaho, just hanging out with family, and I get a phone call from SoCal TRACON, who actually is a club member. Hey, you may want to take a look at this airplane and you can see all this stuff online, by the way, all these accident reports. Take a look at their flight track. They just landed. They're safe, but I think you should look at it. And you might want to look into this. So I did, and I looked at it, and I found that it was an erratic, it was just an erratic flight, low level, strange stuff. The weather, I think, was over, the airplane was trying to get into Gillespie from Sedona, if I remember correctly. And the pilot was not instrument rated and had told SoCal as much. And SoCal, gave him the weather, and that was that. And he said, all right, I want to try to get in. So fast forward a second, I made a phone call, and the pilot was on the ground at Imperial, and I said, hey, any issues with your flight coming back? Nah, just couldn't get in, and just came back out here. All right, well, that's not what I saw, because I just looked at everything and started looking at listening to the tapes. At one point, the pilot got within 400 feet of the ground and couldn't see it over near Crest. So if you live in Crest, you might consider moving somewhere lower. But they tried to get in and tried to go through what we affectionately refer to as a sucker hole. There's a big hole. I think I can get down and just follow the freeway. Tried to do that and was unsuccessful. Scared the crap out of himself. And and then somehow got back up, and the controller actually kind of prompted him, okay, you probably should go to like Imperial, or that's close, 30 minutes, whatever. So they did, but the investigation was, it was pretty straightforward. It was the second incident with this individual. Is no longer a member of the club, but. That was one where when I was investigating this and asked them, hey, what was your weather briefing like? Well, I got it on 4 flight, and it looked all right, and I just figured I'd give it a shot when I got there. Not really the best. I think weather reports in general and weather briefings you'll find through the next couple of stories are kind of going the way of the dinosaur. It just people kind of just look at stuff and okay, fine. So I don't know if that's a unintended consequence of technology or not, but at any rate, that was one. Within a week, I think it wasn't even a week, got another phone call. Hey, your airplane just landed on a road in the desert. Wow, okay, engine failure or something. I'm thinking, man, that's a great job. This guy landed on the road. Awesome. No, it was the pilot was coming back from Vegas. Well, actually, I'll take a step back. The pilot was going to L.A. because his family member wanted to go to L.A., LAX, I think it was. Landed there. And then, same day, said, hey, why don't we just go to Vegas? So they ended up flying to Vegas that same day. They landed at Vegas, spent the night. And then also an instructor. The family member said, all right, you know what, we got to get back. And the instructor said, well, we got to go early because the weather's not looking really good. I don't remember exactly the day, but there were some storms. It was, I think it was a pretty decent storm. But anyway, they started flying back and realized they were going to have to go IFR. So somewhere around Laguna, when IFR, they were cleared, to do an IFR flight plan. They got maybe a couple minutes into the IMC and hit what the instructor said was severe turbulence, made a 180. SoCal, or Center, because they're right there on the edge, declared the emergency for them, pointed them to an airport. The airport is in Ocotillo, private strip. Go land there. So they were headed that direction. But through poor planning, they ended up on the road because, and they actually towed the airplane to the runway. That's how close it was. Airplane was flying, no issues. I got back the next day or a couple days later. That member's no longer in the club. So that's 2. The third one was recently. This one was a flight back from Prescott. Interesting. So everything bad is coming from Arizona. Anyway, so they were coming back from Prescott. And this one was interesting because I was actually up with a couple of my students, and we caught the tail end of it, and what I heard was it was solid IMC. This is a couple weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago or so, when it was IMC everywhere, and it was pretty low. So we blasted out, we got up on top, and we're listening to SoCal headed over toward Borrego, and what we hear is, you flew the wrong missed approach. And I'm thinking, well, that can't be good. So I took a note of the tail number, and then we're listening to what transpires over the next few minutes, and it was clear the pilot was not in control of the situation, like, at all. So, my guys switched over. I was listening to the other radio to make sure this guy got on the ground, because they vectored him over to the ILS from Montgomery, and they landed. At one point in time, the pilot asked, when's the weather going to clear up? Asked that to SoCal. Yeah, no joke. That's on the tapes. Yeah, basically, yeah. So when I heard that, I realized there's big red flags here, big red flags. So when we got back on the ground, I made a phone call to that pilot, and I asked, hey, what happened? Same thing as the first guy. Yeah, couldn't get in. Just came into Montgomery instead, just waiting for it to clear. So I asked, are you instrument rated? No. An instructor on board? No. Is there anybody in the airplane? Give me something. Is there anyone that's instrument rated? No. So you can see how that probably went. But I actually went back and listened to the tapes, and the difference between that guy and the first guy is when he checked in with SoCal, going into Gillespie, the SoCal controller said, ATIS, whatever is current at Gillespie, would you like the localizer? Yeah, we'll take the localizer. The best part about this is when we did the investigation and we had the membership committee where the member appears and the committee determines whether they're going to keep or terminate the member, the pilot said, I've been training for my instrument rating. I had 6 approaches, so I just figured I was current. I was good. And most of the membership committee, we didn't really know what to say, so we were trying to come up with, so why do you need an instrument rating then? Just doesn't. So anyway, that member has also been terminated. So whatever has been happening over the last 6 months, it's a bad trend. And luckily, it's actually ended up pretty good. I mean, as far as there's no bent metal. None of those have turned into IDPs. Or that. I don't talk about the accident statistics anymore because every time I do, inevitably the next day, something happens. Inevitably. What I will say though is, from a national average standpoint, we're better by leaps and bounds, especially from what the NOL reports, if you ever read those, what they define as accidents and on all the statistics, substantially better. We do 40,000 hours a year, at least. a little bit more than that. But if you look at our trend versus the national average, we're way better. And there's a lot of stuff also. I mean, just there's some random stuff happening with, and this is going to continue on as long as there's pilots. But you'll get the guy's taxiing too fast. He taxied past a fuel truck. I still don't understand the whole fuel truck and why people are trying to taxi past them. We've had, well, I don't know, 2-3 fuel trucks hit, but. Anyway, so that we get those, that happens a lot at Montgomery. We get planes turning on engines, and there's cars behind them and whatever. So some there's still some kind of random, small type of issues that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. And again, one of the things that I try to do is make this all transparent. You guys can go to a member dashboard. You can see all of this stuff. You can see any report that we get, and we get a lot. There's always someone out there watching. Right. I mean, doesn't matter where you are. There's always a +1 member. It seems. I mean, I had 4 reports for the same low-flying airplane, and at some point in time, a video made its way to me. And let me tell you, that was a low-flying airplane. It was, 100 feet off the water. Anytime, low-flying airplanes, it's just. There's a lot of argument as to whether or not you're violating regulations if you're along the coastline. Yes is the short answer, because at the end of the day, if the FAA comes to you and says, you violated a regulation, well, what was it? I was over open water. Yeah, careless and reckless. That's it. You're done. That's their catch-all. So it's not worth it, especially if you have passengers, right, or a club airplane. We definitely don't want you to kill yourself. We don't want you to kill yourself in a club airplane for sure, and we really don't want you to kill yourself and other people at the same time. So, low flights over the water, especially like here, direct Catalina, a couple hundred feet off the water, that's not really the smartest thing to do. All right. And I still get those. I still get them. So most of the time it's, counseling, move on, let's go. And that's what a lot of this stuff is. I rarely see repeat offenders. And usually the nice thing about the committee is they can tell pretty quickly when the member, if it's bad enough and they appear in front of the committee, that the committee determines, yeah, okay, this guy's a risk. So, and we've got a pretty good track record of picking that out. So with that, are you good? Do you need more time? I think take a few questions.
Yeah, ask for any question, if you have a question. We've got 4 minutes until we shut down, and then
yeah. Yeah, great question. It's a very formal process, first of all. So there's a notification period, there's the investigation, there's the committee. It's really usually, it's not common that we kick somebody out. Just all of a sudden in the last 6 months, we've done it 4 times. But usually that's not the case. Most of the time, members will come and say, you know what? Yeah, that was stupid. I really screwed up, and this is how I would do that differently. And sometimes it's okay, go fly with a senior instructor or go do this, and fine, everything's fine. If it comes to the termination, they'll get a notice that they're terminated, and as part of that notice, they'll have 20 days to appeal to the entire board, because the committee is comprised of maybe half of the board. So if they want to appeal, they can do that. They can come to the board and they can make their case. So they have that option, and then once that determined, the board's decision's final. Once the board makes that decision, 9 times out of 10, they go away, and that's that. Fun fact for anyone that flies with the airlines: most of these guys that have been terminated will be flying for the airline soon. So, just gonna throw that out there. That's true. So, hopefully, before you retire, so you can train them up. Yeah, Tom.
I don't even know what to say to that. I'll take that one. So here's a quick piece of advice on this subject that that Shane has brought up. I can tell you as the club attorney, it rarely gets to me. Okay, it's usually the committee, and I've been on the board for 12, 14 years, whatever it is. But if it gets past the committee where there's a problem in the investigation period, that's where they contact me and bring me in and ask me to help them get through the investigation because there's now legal issues. And usually that has only occurred a handful of times where somebody is doing something wrong, dishonest, or just flat out illegal. And so I can tell you the situation they're talking about where we brought it up, where the guy brought his attorney, he was just doing things that were dumb. You're basically, as you know, you're all on tape and recorded, and he was saying things that just weren't even flat true, that was wrong on the tape. So we would listen to the tape from ATC, and he was saying I was directed by ATC to do this and to fly at that level. And of course, ATC didn't tell him to fly at that level, and he even repeated to ATC the correct level to be flying at, and he's, one of these guys flying low over the water at night. So, I mean, just incredibly stupid. So I can tell you, if you get into an incident in any of our airplanes, okay, it happens. We understand that. We're all human. Yeah, I told you, I've been flying for 41 years. You think I haven't done stupid things in an airplane? Of course I have, but not intentionally. And if you do something stupid, the board is very willing to help remediate, train that, get you back into flying. We want you to be members as long as you're straight up, honest, and come and tell us. We even kicked somebody out once who damaged an airplane and just plain out lied about it until I got through the investigation, and actually his ex-wife gave him up. But the power of divorce, right? His ex-wife gave him up, and then he got kicked out. So, and he even appealed it to the board. So I don't, my only question was, if you weren't honest in the first few times we asked you how this damage happened, why would any owner want you in their plane again? They wouldn't. So if something happens in our planes, just be straightforward with us. Get on the phone with the owner. Get on the phone with Shane or Dave. We're probably, most of the time, quite honestly, when those people happen and they do something dumb that, causes you, they flat spotted a tire, they hit the, they hit a propeller, they backed up and hit a fuel truck. We say, God, that was dumb. Please don't do that again, right? Now, if it becomes a repeat problem, obviously that's a different issue. However, once you cross that line into trying to, get around it, excuse it, hide it, that's probably going to be the end of you at the club. And that's usually the people we get rid of, people who are incredibly dangerous or violating the FARs, of course, and doing it willfully and just with no judgment at all, or just being flat out dishonest with us. You're not going to stay. So that's probably it. Other than that, fly safely, and if you don't, give us a call. We'll work with you.
All right, I'll leave you with this while they finish up. There's some tribal knowledge that, I'm not a big advocate of putting like every single thing in rules. I don't think it needs to be done. Some people sometimes they test that. And in fact, there's some of the rules that I think are a little antiquated, and I'd like to make some changes to. Nothing big, but in general, some of the tribal knowledge that you can take away with you is, one, don't start up along any fence lines, or for that matter, look behind you, and if there's open hangars, there's other stuff, just use some common sense, pull the airplane out, right? Lots of calls about that. Taxiing either too fast or trying to do, some kind of slalom move between tie downs and chocks and chains. You might be, super ATP, best pilot in the world. I don't really care, but it's the student pilot that's saying, oh, that dude did that, I'm going to do that. And it's not going to end so well with them. So you're almost always going to get a call about that. Low flying airplanes, that's another one. It's an unwritten rule because it's not really a rule, but below 500 feet, if somebody's flying below 500 feet, especially on the coastline, guarantee you someone will report it. If it's not a resident, I have no idea if they call the FAA or not. So if you violate an FAR, I don't necessarily care. I'm not the feds. I'm not going to come after you that way. I don't know what the other person did that reported it. They might have reported you to the FAA. I don't know. I will know at some point in time because they'll call Dave or myself and find out who the who the pilot was. And we have to give them that information, so it is what it is. So I'm not going to send you to the FAA. I mean, unless it's like really egregious and you just try to kill your whole family. Like that one on New Year's Day. That one did go to the FAA because that guy did try to kill his whole family. That was terrible. So aside from that, that's really it. I mean, there's some, you talk to an instructor, especially one that works around the airport a lot, you'll know, the things to do and not do. And feel free to contact me as well. Go ahead. I'll reiterate. What's the second one? Okay. Taxi clearance, make sure you taxi, and on Bravo, turn away from the hangars. Yes, sir, Mr. Wick. Sure.
That's why we're waiting 10 minutes, because you call a taxi and then another plane comes in and you're blocked.
Yeah. It seems pretty logical. Yeah, call when you're ready to taxi. Don't call when you're pre-flighting. It's probably not a good idea to call. Yeah. At home on the way to the airport. Hey, I'll be at the airport in 10 minutes. Could I get a clearance? I got to get to Catalina or Vegas. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I'm going to leave you with this. The bottom line is, if something happens, if you do something stupid, please call me. Okay, we're going to have an unpleasant conversation for maybe 5 minutes, and that'll be it. All right. If there's damage, it goes to a whole other committee. The minimum that you're going to pay is $750 per the IDP. The max is $2,500. Small price to pay, first of all, especially if you do something really, really stupid. And as far as I'm concerned, that's probably it. The worst thing to do is not tell me at all, not say anything, and then the owner calls pissed off or someone else calls pissed off, and then we're blindsided by this whole thing, and then we have to go do an investigation, and that's just extra time. And at that point, I'm going to wonder, okay, why didn't you just call us and tell us what happened? It happens to everybody. I guarantee you, everybody here has probably violated some kind of FAR, right? I mean, probably even on the way over here. So, at any rate, I'm going to hand it over to Dave. I guess Dave.
Okay. All right. I thank again to all the people who put their name and their hat in the ring. You don't know what you're getting into. Anyways, here are your winners. On the owner's side, and this is in no particular order of winning in numbers, it's the following is Trent Terry, Jim Cunning, and Brian Jones. Congratulations. We will see you at the next board meeting. Well, maybe. I may not. In the non-owners category, Jason Andrews, Dave Eby, Chase Franzen, and Shane Terpstra. So they will be serving on the board from 2023 to 2025. So the next elections we will have will be what we call the owners next year. Yay. Welcome to the board. Welcome to the game. Anyways, so the next one will be the owners, what we call it, the owners elections, where we have six owners and one non-owner running. So watch your emails for the next elections, which you'll start seeing this stuff around. Well, we start petitioning for what, in May? Okay. With that, oh yes, hold on, just one sec.
If I haven't met you, my name's Sarah. I'm the corporate secretary for the club, so I'm not like the executive assistant, just so you know. So sometimes I get membership stuff. Anyway, I just want to introduce myself. I wanted to thank everybody who ran. I love to see the participation. We've been having more people attend the board meetings, which is fantastic. You guys, I think it is wise to come and see how things are run. So I think it's very educational. At some point you may like to run, and I love to see a lot of people running. I love to see a lot of people at the board meetings. So they're on the calendar. Our next one's actually going to be via Zoom. The next one's going to be via Zoom. Yeah, the one in July. But that information will be on the calendar, or you can email me, secretary@plusoneFlyers.org, and I will send you a link to join that. But anyway, just thank you. And for those who did not win, thank you very much. Please continue coming. We will have elections again next year. So anyway, just thank you. So.
Well, that's all we had for tonight. So unless you have any questions for me or Greg, drive safe. Thank you. Good night. Hope you enjoyed dinner. We'll see you.